Welcome to the 2021 Banquet on the Bluff. Brought to you by Eagle Bluff Environmental Learning Center. And presented by F&M Community Bank and 3M. Each year, your support helps bring over 14,000 people to visit our campus just outside of beautiful Lanesboro, Minnesota, for hands-on learning and outdoor adventure experiences with the mission of empowering people to care for the earth and each other. This evening, we will be celebrating our 24th year of coming together to make Eagle Bluff experiences happen for all. Proceeds from this evening's event will directly benefit the new Eagle Bluff Nature Preschool. And now, to kick off the program, we are proud to welcome the president of the Eagle Bluff Board of Directors, Ian Shear.
Good evening and welcome all to the 2021 Banquet on the Bluff. My name is Ian Shear and I serve as the president of the Board of Directors for Eagle Bluff Environmental Learning Center. On behalf of all the staff and board of Eagle Bluff, I'd like to thank you for being with us for our program tonight. At this time last year, there was no way you could have convinced me that we'd be in the situation we still find ourselves in today, over a year and a half out from the start of a global pandemic. It was out of an abundance of caution and concern about the Delta variant that Eagle Bluff board and staff made the difficult decision to hold this event virtually again this year. And I thank you for your understanding and flexibility as we continue to navigate these challenging times. The reality is, the last year and a half have, without a doubt, been the most challenging Eagle Bluff has faced in its 43-year history. We also know, without a shred of a doubt, that Eagle Bluff would not have been able to get through the pandemic and be where we are today without your support. You, our donors, supporters, advocates, and champions, were the X factor that allowed us to keep our doors open and continue to offer programming in safe and creative ways, when so many organizations like us were forced to close and lay off their staff. Later on in the program, Eagle Bluff staff will update you on what has been going on around the Bluff this past year, all thanks to your support. But right now, I want to thank you personally. Your ongoing gifts and support have made a world of difference for the students, campers, preschoolers, and adults who have been able to experience the beauty and majesty of the outdoors here at Eagle Bluff over this past year. We've received many comments and amazing feedback from teachers, parents, caregivers, and the kids themselves, thanking Eagle Bluff for continuing to offer programming despite the difficult circumstances. Please know these amazing experiences had by children, adults, and families happened because of you. During a time of social distancing, lockdowns, distance learning, and more, you made it possible for children and families to get outdoors, take off their masks, breathe in fresh air, and get their hands dirty with their classmates and family members. During a time when anxiety, loneliness, uncertainty, social isolation, and childhood obesity have all skyrocketed because of the effects of the pandemic, your generosity allowed for an outlet, a chance for kids and families to be kids and families again in the great outdoors. For this gift you have given, words are not enough. With the following program, however, we've done our very best to show you what you made possible through your gifts and support this past year. With that, I again want to thank each of you for being with us tonight. I hope you and your loved ones stay safe and are healthy, and that we will all be able to gather together in person again soon. I'm excited now to introduce and turn it over to Eagle Bluff's Executive Director, Colleen Fehrenbacher.
Hello, wonderful Eagle Bluff supporters. I'll echo what Ian said. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight, even though it's through a computer screen. Earlier this year, we were so optimistic we would be able to gather in person for this event. Unfortunately, as we all know, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to make large in-person events like this one risky, so instead we've moved online again this year. A few logistics before we begin. We anticipate this program lasting about 45 minutes, and we'll kick off with updates about what's been going on around Eagle Bluff. Then, we'll debut an amazing mission moment video and giving opportunity highlighting our nature preschool. If you haven't got a chance to check out the silent auction portion of the program, it's been live since the 1st and will close promptly at 6:30 this evening. If you haven't checked out the silent auction yet, you can do so by visiting eaglebluffmn.org/auction. If you entered your contact information when you registered, you'll get alerts telling you if you've been outbid or if any other pertinent auction messages occur. If you really like an item and don't want to worry about getting outbid, every item has a buy it now option, so check that out and it'll be all yours. Because this is an online auction, we've come up with a couple different ways for you to receive the items you've won. They can either be mailed to you with an additional shipping cost, and there are some restrictions like we can't send alcohol or any very large or heavy items. 2, they can be picked up in Lanesboro, Rochester, or the Twin Cities with the help of our wonderful volunteers. Dates and times to be determined after the auction concludes. Or 3, they can be held for pickup at Eagle Bluff throughout the month of October. While the mission moment video is when we will ask you for your most generous gift in support of the Nature Preschool, you can donate at any point during the evening by clicking the donate button on the right-hand side of the screen. If you have any trouble logging in, bidding, or donating throughout the night, we'll have Joe standing by on an open phone line, and the number is 507-467-2717. Additionally, while we can accept credit card donations with ease through this site, please give Joe a call if you prefer to pledge a donation by check or other payment method. Again, that number is 507-467-2717. If you are watching this video and you haven't gone to eaglebluffmn.org/auction and logged in yet, please do so now. It's the only way you'll be able to bid on the auction items, and I know you don't want to miss those, especially the taxidermy one. Last note, there's a neat live chat feature on the lower right-hand side of the screen, so don't hesitate to post comments, reactions, emojis, or more throughout the event. Our staff will also be chatting live along with you. Now let's kick off our event by thanking our event sponsors, without which this event would not be possible. Our patron level sponsor, F&M Bank and 3M. Our guardian level sponsors, Cisco Foods and Computer Dynamics. Our champion sponsors, Eagle Cliff Campground, Merchants Bank, Minnesota Energy Resources, Olmsted Medical Center, Tri-State Business Machines, and WA Group. Our mentor sponsors, Custom Alarm, Dairyland Power Cooperative, Hawkins Ash CPAs, Kelly Printing and Signs, Kingsley Mercantile, My Energy Cooperative, Valley Design, and Zumbrota Ford. These businesses have made a commitment to outdoor education and community involvement through their investment in tonight's program, and we are thrilled to have their support. Thank you so much to all of tonight's sponsors. We'd also like to thank all of our silent auction donors for their wonderful donations and experiences for our silent auction tonight. Check out all the items at eaglebluffmn.org/auction. Last but not least, I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our banquet planning committee for their hard work making this event possible. Sue, Jerry, Kristen, and Joe, thank you. Despite COVID-19 majorly slowing down, and for some months completely shutting down our programming, because of your tremendous support, we have had some amazing successes over the past year, and we are excited to share them with you tonight. So follow me as we tour around campus to check out what you've made happen around Eagle Bluff this past year.
Anybody home? Oh, hey, Colleen and Eagle Bluff supporters. I'm Jenna Moon, Eagle Bluff's Education Director, here to give you an update about our outdoor school program. Last school year, 23 schools visited our campus for an overnight outdoor school experience. This is a far cry from the 140 schools that usually visit our campus annually. But to be honest, we were so happy to be able to have anyone, given everything that has been happening with the pandemic. We're also proud to say that thanks to your generosity this past year, we were able to keep our staff on payroll, which allowed them to be hard at work developing COVID-19 protocols to help ensure the health and safety of our visitors and staff. We were the only Minnesota Environmental Learning Center to host any overnight schools last school year, and it was truly a team effort to do this safely. From the housekeeping staff who worked diligently to keep our dorms and classrooms clean, to the dining hall staff who completely reinvented our serving and meal logistics, and to the education team who had to rethink many of our classes and schedules and pivot our programming to meet the moment. Because of your support, our team was able to rise to the occasion to provide the much needed outdoors time to help students, parents, and teachers decompress. Our schools were so grateful that they were able to come and have a positive experience in the outdoors. Let's hear firsthand from one of those schools.
Hi, I'm Sarah Slotsky, and I'm from St. Mary's School in Owatonna. And every year, our 7th grade class gets a field trip, 3 days and 2 nights, to come to Eagle Bluff. And we're always really excited. It's one of the highlights for our 7th graders, really. When they leave our school at the end of 8th grade, and we ask them, what do they remember? What meant the most to them? Eagle Bluff always comes up as one of the top choices. So, very interesting with COVID and everything that has happened. We usually come in the fall, and a year ago we didn't get to come in the fall. But Eagle Bluff worked with us and was really great, and we were allowed to bring our 7th graders in June to come for 3 days and 2 nights. One of the highlights of the trip is always the ropes course. Our kids love that. We love seeing them set challenges, overcoming fears, being engaged and encouraging with each other. Those are opportunities, and why we love Eagle Bluff so much, that just we don't always see in the classroom in something that big. So it's really, really awesome to see. During COVID, the protocols that are at Eagle Bluff made everyone feel safe. We also got to bring our 7th graders at our normal time this year in September, and it was really awesome. They had these air purifiers in the room, and I think, everybody struggled during the pandemic, but I want to say a big shout out, a big thank you to all the donors that help Eagle Bluff keep going and provide this wonderful opportunity for kids to learn, be engaged in the outdoors, understand the environment better, and really grow in their knowledge and in their leadership skills. So thank you, everyone. Eagle Bluff is a great opportunity for everybody, easy to work with, and makes a big difference for our students. So thank you.
Many of the schools that didn't stay overnight were still able to connect with the outdoors, with both day use options here on campus and at schools. We conducted more off-site outreach programs than ever, reaching hundreds of youth while conducting outdoor activities at their school. This fall, we're still seeing school cancellations with the Delta variant, but as of right now, 60% of our schools are still planning on coming this fall for an overnight trip. In addition, we have 7 new schools who are super excited to experience the outdoor school program for the first time.
Now, there's no way we would have been able to host these 23 overnight schools, dozens of day use groups, and provide outreach to schools without the Environmental Education Fellowship Training Program. As Ian said in his opening comments, you, our donors, were an integral part of helping us maintain some sense of normalcy. Your generous support allowed us to offer this annual training program. Let's go find out more about the Fellowship Training Program.
Hello, Eagle Bluff champions. I'm Henry Whitehead, Fellowship and Summer Camps Manager and former fellow and mentor. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Environmental Education Fellowship Program. Environmental Education Fellows spend 2/3 of their time teaching Eagle Bluff classes centered around hands-on, experiential, and inquiry-based teaching methods. When groups visit Eagle Bluff, the Fellows also serve as the primary Eagle Bluff representative by coordinating the group schedule and cultivating personal connections with the students, chaperones, and teachers. The fellowship community also serves as a graduate seminar cohort as fellows participate in intensive training, graduate seminars, and one-on-one teaching observations throughout the year. Fellows can opt to earn credits towards a graduate certification in environmental education from Hamline University or put those credits towards a master's degree. The seminars and training complement the hands-on teaching experience and help fellows develop their skills as environmental educators. Here to tell us more about her experience being an environmental education fellow during a pandemic is curriculum assistant and member of last year's fellowship, Jill Grime.
My name is Jill. I am from Maryland originally, but I was at St. Olaf College in Minnesota for 4 years. So I knew the area in general, but I actually didn't know about Eagle Bluff until senior year of college. But yeah.
Okay, so now let's go back in time. It's March of 2020.
Yeah.
Pandemic is just starting, and you just accepted the EE fellowship spot, environmental education fellowship spot here at Eagle Bluff. And we had this stretch of the summer where we were watching what COVID-19 was doing, how it was affecting everybody's life.
Yeah.
And here at Eagle Bluff, we were really unsure what our fall was going to look like and whether or not we would even be able to have an environmental education fellowship. What was going through your head during that time?
Well, because I think everyone had the same thought in March where it was like, well, it'll be a month and then it'll be fine. I think it started to dawn on me that maybe it wouldn't happen probably around June. So I was really nervous that it was not going to happen, but I feel like I kind of hoped throughout the entire time that I was just kind of like, well, it has to happen, it has to. And luckily it did. I got the email in early August that like everything was actually set in place to start in September. And even though it was a delay, I was over the moon. I feel like, in summary, a lot of nerves, but a lot of excitement for it as well.
For sure. So we were lucky enough to have some schools
Yeah,
come to us
that was good.
last year and tell us about what your experience was like teaching those groups.
Yeah. Well, it was so interesting because I feel like a lot of the things in terms of COVID, like it mentally it took a back burner with like the amount of excitement that we had for teaching the kids, like of course all the protocols were still in place, but it just started to feel normal where it was like, okay, mask inside and like, but we're staying distance outside, but we're like hanging out with the kids and just having fun. So if like, I don't even want to imagine what would have happened if the donors hadn't, if donors of Eagle Bluff hadn't come through or hadn't been able to provide as much as they did, because the schools, like, I mean, they appreciate it. We appreciate it so much. And just, again, breath of fresh air for the kids to come in and get excited about the environment and like kind of get away from it, because that's what's really fun about environmental education is that you can get outside and you don't have to be inside the whole time, and you don't have to constantly think about COVID and how close you are with someone and all of that. So it was really nice in a lot of different aspects, kind of freed the mind in a sense.
Which things did pick up in May.
Yes.
And then
and April even.
In April, April and May, and then we had a crazy summer.
Yeah.
So if you want to pivot and talk a little bit about the experience of summer camps this year, both overnight and days that we hosted.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Where do I begin? It's just because it was, like you said, such a complete flip-flop between winter and summer. Oh my God.
Yeah, to go from like 10% of our schools being here to 95% of the camps being full.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I look back at it with really fond memories.
That's good.
I, just because of so many funny kid stories. Can I tell one? So this isn't even my story, but it just cracks me up every time. Because one of our summer camp naturalists, Emily, she was talking about how it was after a campfire on one of the campouts that we had for and I think you might have heard this story too, but it was for Forkhorn too. I forget what camp, but they were walking by the river on their way to the tents.
I remember this.
It's my favorite story. And this one girl looks out at the river and goes, and then just bursts out laughing. And then Emily's like, "What? Like, what's wrong?" And she was like, "I didn't realize the river still ran at night, and like still worked at night.
Didn't turn off."
Yeah, it didn't turn off. Like, oh my god. Just the innocence of kids will always astound me, and it just makes the day better every time.
Do you think camp for so many students this year was even more meaningful because most of them had just had this virtual learning experience for the last 8 months?
Yeah.
Like, did you have discussions or conversations with students about that, or?
I know that they weren't used to it. I feel like they were looking at the whole experience and or like looking out at the different activities that we had in store, and we're like, this is a lot in a day, because they had been, you know, as you said, like they were cooped up in their houses at school for the last 8 months or so, and so they hadn't had like a structured outside time like that in a long time. It was a lot of like, we're here, we're enjoying ourselves, we're like savoring the outside time that we have. But I know that I know that I would ask them if there's any other camps that they were going to go to or anything else they were going to do. They're like, no, I'm probably just going to sit inside for the rest of summer. So the fact that they were here for camp for a week, like even if that's so like 5 days, that seems so small, but then like considering how much we do and how much they get out of it is so meaningful. Because we had virtual programming for a while, and it just like, it's not the same, but that's why I'm just glad that we were able to make it happen this year, that we could actually do it in person, because I was thinking we were going to do a lot more virtual programming than we did.
So this is your second year.
Yeah.
So now let's look back to last year. Can you tell us about what that experience meant to you, that you were able to come here as a fellow, and what the support of our donors has ultimately like led the experience to be for you?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing is what it meant to me was I was able to actually try out teaching with kids. And I was able to have so many different experiences. Like, it's not just that. It's also animal care. It's also like program support. It's also working with preschoolers. It's also getting to know the administrative staff and you know, like doing tasks around the office and things like that. It's so multifaceted, and I'm sure that's not even all of it. I forgot about naturalist programs and just like presenting in general, because I had a couple of experiences that were pretty, like, it was like a few weeks, but the fellowship, the fact that it could go on for a whole year, that I was able to hone in skills and talents that I really wanted to improve on, or that I wanted to discover in myself too, was just, it's priceless and it's invaluable to me, because now I just feel if I I really looking forward to the next year so I can do even more of that. But once I leave Eagle Bluff, it's gonna, like, I have so much more that I can offer to the next thing that I'm like, the next venture that I have, or like the next job, and I just feel like if we hadn't had donors, none of this would have happened. Like, being a nonprofit is gonna be like, it's gonna be really hard without schools. And even though there weren't nearly as many schools as the year before, it's still so important to have those experiences for both the kids and for us teachers. It's not just the kids that are having these invaluable experiences, it's us. Like, I would never have known how to teach if I hadn't had this opportunity. So it's just, I can't thank the donors enough for what they were able to provide for Eagle Bluff, because I honestly don't know where I would be if like teaching wise or just experience wise if it hadn't been for this program.
As a graduate of the fellowship program, I can attest to the power and importance of this training program. It meant the world to us that we were able to offer the fellowship program, and as Jill said, It was thanks to the generosity of you, our donors. Having fellows here allowed us to have enough staff to run our outdoor school program and summer camps, but also brought new energy and purpose to our organization. It was by no means an easy year, so I'm going to take this opportunity to thank all staff for their support of our fellows, despite most people working reduced hours during the last school year. Let's continue on our journey.
Hey everyone, I'm Brent Burton, Eagle Bluff's Fellowship and Summer Camp Manager. We had one of our best summer camp seasons to date, offering both overnight and day use options for youth and families. Parents were so pleased we hosted camps, which allowed children to spend hours of their day playing and exploring the outdoors. Highlights include swimming, tubing the river, and campouts. We also had more local youth than ever before, which deepens our connections with the local communities. Here are some things parents had to say about their child's experience at camp this year.
Amy from Minneapolis said, "Generally, teenagers never tell their mothers about anything, but she actually spent a good 20 minutes in the car ride home telling me about camp and making me promise she can go back. Then she fell asleep. She must have had a lot of fun to fall asleep in the car for 2 hours."
Jennifer from Rochester said, "Exceeded expectations. She continually said it was the best camp she's ever attended at Eagle Bluff. Her counselors were awesome, the group of kids were great, the activities were fun, and all around just a great time."
Melissa from Winona, she said it was the best week of her life. She demands she returns next year. It's what every mommy wants to hear.
Paula from Rochester said, "Actually was better than I expected. She is like a changed person with motivation and goals."
The outdoors is our classroom, and the land guides our lessons, so it's essential that we care for our land to the best of our ability. We've got several major projects that seek to do just that. Let's try and find Joe Deedon to hear more about land management around Eagle Bluff's property.
Oh, hey, Joe.
Hey, Colleen, how are you?
Good.
I've been picking up chestnut seeds. These are Phil Rudder's Badger Set Farm chestnuts, so they're blight resistant. And the big tree over there did not cross-pollinate, so it only produces dried, infertile nuts. But the smaller tree did cross-pollinate, and I picked up a couple hundred nuts so far this year, and we're planting them in different places, out at the point, at the Martin property, around campus. So hopefully we'll get more chestnuts, which were once the most common tree in the eastern United States. So let's go out to the point and I'll show you other things we've been doing out there.
Sounds great.
am with one of my favorite invasives, honeysuckle. You can see it, 10, 12, 15 feet high and about that big around. The last 5 years we've been trying to control invasives at the point, and we go in with a rock rake, which is mounted on the skid steer. We go underneath it, we lift up the whole thing, bounce it to get the soil off the roots, drop it down, and just go on to the next one. And I'll do that for 60 hours in a course of a week, just controlling invasives on the property for 5 years. And if we go over here, you can see what this looks like. So this was the same sort of thick, couldn't see anywhere, invasives everywhere. And this is what it looks like 1 year later. You really can't see the invasives. I mean, I'm really actually kind of amazed at how fast they break down and deteriorate. They are really dry and crumbly. One winter will dry them all out. But how much better it looks. So we've been doing this for 5 years at the point, and every year we work with the DNR and doing crop tree thinning, working with the best trees on the property and cutting down or deadening the rest and controlling the invasives. So this year will be the last year we'll wrap up the whole property where we've gone over. And where we don't have woods, we have prairies that we worked on restoring, and we'll go take a look at a couple of different spots at different locations. Here we are at the Point A-frame where we're doing some bobwhite quail habitat work. This is a Covey headquarters, and we have old Forest Resource Center signs that we have flipped down to provide cover out of the weather sort of things for the quail. And then this is a corn feeder. We fed a ton of cracked corn last winter. Basically, we had a lot of fat squirrels, and we had a couple quail that made it through the winter that Marty was seeing up on his feeders also. So we're keeping to work on bobwhite quail habitat, and this is an ideal space to do it with the open sort of savanna prairies, low grassy, weedy things for them to eat. Still at the point, and these are some of our 30 fruit trees that we have planted. This just happens to be an apricot that is growing well in southeast Minnesota. So we have 30 fruit trees. We fertilize them. We try to keep them clean, mow around them to keep roads around. We have a road repellent collar. And it's right next to our eagle's nest. In the summer, the eagles fledged 2 eaglets. They're around all summer and fall, and it's been great to see them. And because the water has been so clear and clean this summer, we've also seen osprey. And actually, we saw a pair of osprey. So this might be the first time we've had nesting osprey at Eagle Bluff.
Thank you for those land management updates, Joe. In addition to the various projects around campus that Joe, staff, and volunteers have been working on, we are thrilled that we now have our very own mountain bike trails that wind and traverse along our main campus. These trails were designed and built by our wonderful maintenance staff, Marty Johnson. They are free and open to the public, so whenever you're in the mood to shred, come on down and experience these brand new trails. And now we've come to the last segment of the evening, the mission moment. This is the point in the evening where I ask you to make your most generous gift, a gift that will benefit our newest outdoor education program and the focus of tonight's event, the Nature Preschool. At any time during the video, please click the donate button on the right side of your screen to make your gift. Without further ado, I present to you the Eagle Bluff Nature Preschool.
So what is a nature preschool? A nature preschool is really, we cover all the same things as a usual preschool would, but we do it outdoors. So we're doing story times, we're sitting on a circle of stumps and reading a book, we're singing songs, we're counting the bugs or the flowers that we see along the trail. We're practicing our alphabet and writing our names. We might find sticks and make our names out of sticks. So we're hitting all of the same developmental standards as we would in a classroom, but we're doing those things outside. So a day at Nature Preschool typically looks like the kids arrive. Some of them arrive on a bus, some of them arrive by parent pickup or drop off. And we'll come in, we have a circle time where we welcome everybody to school, go over our day, have some free play in the classroom, and then we have breakfast. Right after breakfast we head outside. We spend about 3 hours outside every morning, so usually from 9 until noon. And during that time we're hiking on the trails, exploring all that Eagle Bluff has to offer. We will do a circle time outside, which includes songs and stories, and then oftentimes we also have a game or activity. After that time we come back into the classroom for lunch and rest. Then we have a snack and the kids get back on the bus and head home for the day. Some of the differences between a standard preschool and a nature preschool are we spend most of our time outside. And one of the biggest things we notice is how much that affects the children's behaviors. So when we're inside, we might see a lot of challenging behaviors, struggles sharing toys, sharing space, sharing materials. And when we get outside, we really see a drastic reduction in all of that. Kids and teachers feel calmer, more able to meet the moment, and there's just so many more opportunities for us to use our bodies, to get our energy out. And so a lot of those difficulties that we see inside a classroom, once we're outside, we just don't have to worry so much about those, and it leaves so much space to really follow the children's curiosities and take advantage of those teachable moments. Do you like playing inside or outside?
Outside and inside.
So, Briar, do you like playing inside or outside?
Inside and outside.
What's your favorite thing to do outside?
Play in the sandbox. Let's go back to classroom.
When I'm outside, I feel
happy. When I'm happy and when I'm in the forest.
So we've known for a really long time that early childhood education is something that we, like Eagle Bluff, feels really called to do. We have this amazing campus that's nestled in the middle of all these small towns here in southeast Minnesota. And as far as we know, there isn't a formal nature preschool in this area. And so based on the fact that environmental education is already something that we do and we do so well, it was just natural to think about, like, well, how can we enhance what we're doing but bring in early childhood experts? And that's where the partnership between Head Start, who is really good at early childhood, and us was just this natural partnership.
1, 2, 3, jump!
Can we do that again? Good job!
And so after a couple years of conversations between Head Start and just, again, our constituents and our staff, we launched the pilot preschool last year with just the Head Start students, and we're so excited, despite a pandemic, that we were able to expand that this year to include community members. And so this year is sort of our pilot year 2.0, with having both Head Starts and community members merging into one and using this campus as their playground, as their learning zone, between our prairies and our forests and the river and even some small man-made ponds on our campus. It's just the perfect site for them to start to engage with nature at a young age and foster those relationships and get them excited about nature, which research shows that if you do that at a young age, especially early childhood, it's going to lead into behaviors and lifelong love of nature. Your support tonight for the Nature Preschool is going to go to several different areas. One, first and foremost, it's always been top of our priority that this program is accessible to families and students of all economic backgrounds. So we want to create a large scholarship pool of funds so that families can have access to that money to send their student here if that's what they would like to do. Two, we want to expand our nature playground, which is behind me. Right now we just have a sort of a small play area enclosed in a fence, which is for licensing's requirement. Like, goes against everything I feel like a nature preschool should be, but we want to expand the play area outside of the fenced-in area to include lots of other natural events
and play areas and areas to spark imagination and creativity. So really this kind of whole area behind me, we want to have those elements be there for. And that's not only to benefit the students that are here at Eagle Bluffs Nature Preschool, but also to market to the larger community, to get more families up here to experience our campus and play on this wonderful area. Nature play areas are popping up all over the place, and again, I feel we are positioned very well with the communities we have around us to be just the centralized area for young people exploring and connecting with nature. 3, there's lots of other sort of facility enhancements that we'd like to do, both in our classroom and even purchasing additional equipment for the young people to be exploring our campus with. Having laundry facilities here in our Schrader Visitor Center, instead of having to take laundry to and from different buildings. Preschoolers are messy. They create a lot of laundry, so that'll be something that's easier for them to do. We're also hoping that our enrollment will grow enough that warrants a second classroom, and so purchasing the infrastructure to have an expanded classroom so that we can have more students here on site. Thank you again for your support, for those of you who have donated, and we can't wait to see what happens with this program and continue to see it grow and touch the lives of so many people. Thank you so much for tuning into tonight's program. To everyone who donated, bid on, and hopefully won auction items, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You've just given the littlest outdoor explorers among us, like JJ, the gift of the great outdoors. And along with that, a foundation for caring for the earth and each other that we hope will last a lifetime. Myself and our staff will be reaching out to each of you individually over the coming days and weeks to thank you personally for your support, as well as to arrange shipping or pickup for any auction items you may have won tonight. This video and donation page will remain up after the event, so if you have any friends or family you'd like to share this with, please do. On behalf of myself and all the Eagle Bluff staff, thank you again for tuning into tonight and for your generous support. I hope you are all safe and healthy and enjoying the beautiful fall weather wherever you are. Good night and have a great rest of your evening. Say bye. JJ, we did it.
Thank you! Thank you!
And Lauren will show us what to do with the apples.
Don't be too loud, just a little bit.
I'll do it just right now for a little tight.
Ready?
Remember? That's what it'll be. And it'll get a little loud because as it chops and grinds, the apples go.